Tuesday golf show from awesemo.com. Ben Razza here with Tim Frank. We got two interesting events. We got Corrales, which we're going to save till the end. And then we have the WGC match play, which is a different format, kind of fun, kind of disturbing. What are your thoughts about this type of event?
Yeah, I love the match play. I just like having kind of a different format for a week. I think it's exciting, even though they changed it from a single elimination like it was a few years ago to kind of the group play. I still think the matches early on, like on Wednesday and Thursday, even though it's not like one and done, I still think those matches have a lot of meaning. And to me, it's more exciting earlier in the week than a regular PGA Tour event. So I like it. Difficult week to make lineups. There's a lot to think about, a lot of strategy involved. I was really looking forward to it until I made my first lineup, and it took me like 45 minutes to try and get it all straight. So I had like the optimal setup, and then I was like, yeah, I don't know how many of these lineups I'm going to be doing this week. But in theory, there's a lot to think about, a lot of strategy involved, but it's kind of a pain in the ass to execute.
It's brutal. Like MMEing this week, if you're building by hand, which I think a lot of people are going to, more power to you because it takes a while to properly do it. So what we're gonna do it in a logical way. We're gonna go kind of region by region, NCAA tournament style, and then with the time left, we'll go to Punta Cana, see what we can muster up with Tony
Oh,
Romo.
there better be time left for
Oh,
that.
there's yeah. I mean, like we've thought about, we want to save that to the end to make people watch the show because we know that's what they're here for. Um, before we get into the groups, though, real quick, I just wanted to kind of ask you, what do you make of the course in a situation like this? Do you even weigh it at all? Do you try to look for, on a normal week, obviously we talk about who may fit this course, but this is such a unique style. Does it really even matter?
Yeah, I don't think you can really separate course fit from event fits because, it's match play, so it's a totally, different style of an event. And I think the match play favors the longer hitters, it favors the more aggressive birdie makers. We've seen this event three times here at Austin Country Club. Bubba, Rory, and Day are three winners. So, all very long off the tee, all make a ton of birdies. So, I don't even know if this course theoretically sets up great for them, but you just can't really separate the course fit from event fit. I don't know if we had a stroke play event here, it might play completely different. But it's just a competition that favors the aggressive players. So yeah, I'm really not taking into account course fit at all. Just thinking more from a match play perspective and how, I feel the more aggressive players definitely have the advantage. Obviously, making a big number doesn't hurt you at all. You lose a hole rather than, making a double, triple bogey. So for
Yep.
me, yeah, just focus on the aggressive guys. Definitely an advantage for the longer hitters, just in format at least.
I think so too. It's really hard to separate it, and there's just certain guys. Poulter comes to mind that have a knack for this kind of thing. Doesn't mean we're going to use him. We're going to get into it all. Honestly, let's just jump into it because I think there's a lot to talk about, and we'll give some overarching thoughts about how to do this. But so what we're going to do, we're just going to start top left. So group one, we got DJ, Decky, Grace, and Ches. Last year, DJ was the absurd favorite, and Kisner, Hadwin, and my man Burden Wiesberger somehow whooped him. So you never know, but it's hard to. Do you have any thoughts about this group? Obviously, if it's not DJ, it seems like it's a stretch after that.
Yeah, I mean DJ. So I guess one of the things you want to look at is I'm looking at kind of the odds to advance or the odds to win the group. So DJ's basically even money to win the group. Seems like a prohibitive favorite is a prohibitive favorite, but when you think about that, that's still only a coin flip to advance. So, it's when you look at guys like him, Rory, even though they're big favorites to advance, they're still a coin flip. So it's like it's not a lock. And like you said last year, this is kind of a volatile format. I mean, you're going to see quite a few big name guys not advance out of this pool play. But yeah, DJ seems like the guy to beat. Awesome in this format. Won here. He's been playing great. I'm preferential to Decky, as we all well know. He's been striking the ball great. Hasn't had a lot of success here. But 8,200. I think that's something else that you got to think about is I kind of look at maybe the quadrant altogether and see who can get to the round of 16, and we'll get to the next group, in a minute. And that seems pretty weak. So I don't know if Hideki can somehow get by DJ, he might kind of have an easier path to the round of 16. But yeah, it's either DJ or Hideki here for me.
I mean, Chez is not someone even for salary relief that I'm looking to. Brandon Grace, I have a little of, but it's more just where I had the opening. So what we're gonna loop in, and we'll probably modify this as we go. I'm gonna loop in Group 16 because the way, basically, just to step back a second, maybe we should talk about this off the top. What you want to do, obviously, is kind of build backwards. So you want ideally to get all 4 guys in the final 4, and then have 2 other guys who are playing your guys in the 8. So you want to get 6 out of 8. If you pick people from the same group, you're eliminating people right off the bat. So if you take DJ, don't take the other 3. And furthermore, Group 16, which we're about to mention, I wouldn't advise taking someone from that group either.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's how I would do it. You want to be able to have the final 4 and 6 of the final 8. Drewby broke down how unlikely that is to happen, or how unlikely it is to have, all 6 of your guys advance out of the pool play. But even though it's unlikely, I mean, it's unlikely you're going to win a GPP. Yeah, it's 1 in 1,000, but in order to win the GPP, I think you have to sort of build optimally. It's super unlikely you're going to have 6 of the final 8, but you have to sort of build that way and give yourself a chance, especially in these huge GPPs. So yeah, I'm looking at it exactly the same way as you are. I mean, it's all about having guys play more rounds. I mean, playing more rounds is going to equal more points. Once your guy's knocked out, obviously you're not accruing any more points.
So. No, and if you're sacrificing guys off the top, that just seems like, yeah, can it work? Of course it could work, but that just seems you're making it unnecessarily difficult. And people are going to do that, especially in lower dollar things. Let them take 3 guys from a group and have to hero ball the other 3 quadrants.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, if you're going to do it, I think you got to do it right. You got to take the time to at least set yourself up for success, and, let other people kind of make mistakes and be drawing dead early on.
No, absolutely. I mean, with something like this, I truly think that the edge is more on what you're doing lineup wise than who you're taking. I think this is somewhat of a crapshoot for breaking down the golfers. To be honest, maybe it's me. I don't know. I have a tough time. There's a lot of variance in a format like this and where guys are at. But so we talked a little about Group 1. So the winner of Group 1 plays the winner of Group 16, and Group 16 is Patrick Reed, Sergio, Shane Lowry, and Andrew Putnam. No one over 9,000, 8,600 to 6,100 for Putnam. So these are mid-range and then 1 punt target. I have little to no interest in this group on a whole. What about you? Do you like this little section?
Yeah, no, this is a bad group. Reed not playing well. Lowry and Putnam not playing well. Sergio was striking the ball amazing until last week, just kind of quit on the weekend. I think he made a 9 or a 10 or something late, did some Sergio things. But, I'm not willing to kind of write him off after one bad event. He had been striking it really great. The problem for me with playing Sergio is I like DJ a lot better, and I like Hideki a lot better. So I'm probably not going to play a lot of Sergio because they're going to, theoretically, he would be going up against DJ or Hideki, which I'm not really a fan of. So yeah, this group is a pass for me. And obviously you're only picking 6 golfers, so there are going to be a couple groups where you're just probably not going to have anybody, or you're definitely not going to have anybody out of. So yeah, this is probably a pass for me.
I'm on the same wavelength. I mean, it's hard. You were just talking about what Drew was saying, and he's obviously 100% right. It's going to be really hard to get winners of groups, and that's what you're shooting for. If you get the winner, though, what I obviously want, and these are a lot of ifs, but the last thing I want is my golfer to win his group and then get DJ. And that obviously could happen here. So it's like, if you get this guy, say you get this Group 16 right, and then they get smoked by DJ, it's not the worst thing in the world. That it's good they won their group, but you're not getting the full payoff. Whereas some of the other groups, if they can win it, kind of like what you were saying on the other side, if DJ doesn't come out of Group 1, I think Decky or Grace have a very good chance against the winner of Group 16. That's more of a risk I'm willing to take. than the other way around.
Yeah, like I think Sergio would be. This isn't really something I would bet, but I have him at 2-1 to win the group. I'd be more interested in that. He's the, they have Reed as the favorite, which Reed is just not playing good. I'd be more interested in betting Sergio to win the group than playing him in DFS, where I really have a lot of interest in DJ and Hideki. So.
No, I'm with you. All right, so then the bottom half of kind of that region is we got Group 9. This group is even worse to me. It's because it has Xander in it, and I never get him right. We've got Xander Schauffele, RCB, Tyrell Hatton, and Lee Westwood. In terms of salaries, we got Xander at 9,400. Lee Westwood's at the bottom at 6,600. These are guys that I see. I wouldn't fault anyone for going to any of the four. I think you have merit there. But at the same time, I didn't find myself really getting there too much with this group. What about you?
I like RCB as,
okay.
He'll save you some salary at 7,500. Struck the ball really well at Valspar, gained almost 8 strokes with the ball striking. Wasn't good at the Players, but he was really good at Arnold Palmer, gaining almost 7 strokes with the ball striking there. So that's 2 out of the last 3 really good ball striking from him. 7,500 I think is a good price. You look at Hatton, who's 7,600. We have Rafa at 66-1. We have Hatton at 90-1. Rafa's, I'm at 2.25-1. He's a bigger favorite, or more likely to advance over Hatton. So I like him, and especially this doesn't seem like, with Xander being the best player in the group, it's not like having DJ or Rory in the group. I mean, Xander's good, but I'm not putting him at that level yet. So I like RCB, striking the ball well, and it's kind of a weaker group, so I wouldn't mind him to save some money.
It's wide open. It's hard to take. I mean, I think Xander's going to be lower owned in the sense that it's tough to use him there and allocate some salary. This is a good group to punt a little. Even Hatton, who's what was that on Friday? Nice job, guy.
No.
My God,
There was some really bad. There was a lot of guys just going off the reservation last week. Just gave up.
Roberto Castro on Sunday was so bad, and him and Fertel, whatever.
Dude, Castro got it to 5 under about 4 or 5 holes in on Saturday, and I literally I'm texting my buddy. He dropped like a 40-foot putt. I'm like, Castro, he's coming, and then it was like he was like 14 over the rest of the way after that.
It was after Kokrak got that hole in one, everything in society fell apart, all areas of the world, but we don't have to deal with that too much this week. So we just talked about Group 9. This is a tough group that they're going against. Group 8, Rahm, Kuchar, JB Holmes, and Siwoo Kim. This is a group where on most of my teams, I'm going to have what I hope is the winner of the group. I like a lot of guys here. Obviously, Rahm, I think, is a serious threat to win the whole thing. I know he blew up at the Players last week. He was kind of there, not really, but that was not a good course for him. Do you want to spend the 10-6 on him, or do you prefer maybe saving and going elsewhere?
Yeah, it's tough because I like Rahm. I really like him for the event. Great off of the tee. And I think that's so important because it takes the pressure off the rest of your game. I mean, you don't have to be a great approach player, great around the green, great putter when you're as good off the tee as he's been. And I think in this format, that's really huge. So I like Rahm. I guess my only hesitation would be if I think that RCB is a really good play at 7,500 and a guy that I'm going to want in a lot of lineups, probably not going to play a lot of Rahm because, I don't want them meeting in the second round. Again, you're really projecting out. Is all this likely to happen? No, but I think that's kind of, at least you have to have that in your head when you're building lineups. So yeah, I think Rahm's a great play, a great fit for this event. But I don't know if you're playing RCB, then I'm probably not playing Rahm. Not a ton of interest in the other guys. I don't know. Siwoo Kim, it feels good, but just like the way he's been attaining some of these high finishes is really unlike him. I think at 6,500 people might go there, but it's just kind of been an odd year for him with the putter being so good and the ball striking being a little weak.
It's so tempting because he's 6,500 and, you can use him. You could use someone like DJ up top. Not that, that's not too bad of obviously when you have 6 guys, you're going to need some people to meet in the quarterfinals. There's no way around that. I didn't structure ideally like that. I kind of want my super top end guys by themselves in their entire region, because what the hell do I need Siwoo Kim if I have DJ? I'm not like DJ losing is going to be a problem. But at the same time, I think it's a decent group. Kuchar's interesting. JB Holmes would be last for me. I'm not going to try to chase that. And I just, I'm not a golfer, but I think there's something to what you just said. Like when it's one-on-one, like Rahm just crushing the ball, putting pressure on the other player, especially if he's driving it well. Obviously, if he's spraying, it takes the pressure off. But I do think there's something to that. And he's just a tough guy to go against in this type of format. We've seen him, when Tony Horror made that run. I believe that was the Rahm year where he lost to DJ, I want to say. That was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So he could build for this format. I like him. So that's Quadrant, region, whatever the hell you want to call it, region 1. Just to step back, I mean, obviously we're not breaking news. I think the 2 obvious players most likely to come out, and this is what the odds would reflect, would be DJ or Rahm. They would meet in the quarterfinals if they did. Is that what you see it with, maybe like an RCB as a dark horse?
Yeah, for sure. DJ Rahm, I'm just, I'm playing some Hideki regardless because the ball striking has been there. And then, yeah, RCB is just kind of a mid-range guy that I like out of this quadrant.
All right. Now we're going down. So these are guys that they won't play the groups we just mentioned until the semifinals. That's the earliest they would play. So the next group is Justin Thomas's group number 5. JT, Keegan, Matt Wallace, and Biergaard. I would have to assume, I don't have the odds in front of me, that JT's a pretty sizable favorite to come out.
Yeah, he's minus 120. So he's only like one of like 3 or 4 guys that are minus something to win their group. But yeah, this is a pretty bad group in my opinion.
It's tough.
Get Keegan out of here. Just get him.
He's gone. Again, and it depends on, you're not going to be able, ideally it's like, oh, well, I'll take DJ there, I'll take JT there, I'll take Rose, and I'll take, Brooks. It's not going to work, obviously, salary-wise. So someone like Biergaard, who I think his biggest problem is, he has some blow-up holes. This format, if you want a flyer, he's, what is he, 6,200.
Yeah.
I think it's a very tall task. He's going to have to probably beat JT or, some ridiculous scenario to get out of the group. But I do like a guy like that. And this is a group where JT is going to be the heavy favorite, relative to the others, because he's clearly the best player with 3 guys sub 7,500.
Yeah, I'm with you on Biergaard. It seems like a good format for him. It's just a tough ask being in the same group with JT, but like we've said, there's a lot of variance in this event, and all these studs are not going to get it out, or not going to make it out of the group round. The only problem with the guys in this group is then when you go down to group 12, there's Day in that group, and it's kind of tough if you're punting with Biergaard or even playing JT. It's like, damn, you could come up against Day in the second round, which is not optimal. So that's just kind of something to think about. If you're spending $11K, you kind of want guys to have a cakewalk, I'll put that in air quotes, as far as possible. And facing Day in the second round, that's a really tough matchup.
It's true. Let's link in that group then. So we've got Day. This is a weird, interesting group to me. Day, Phil, Stenson, and then Jim Furyk, who's back from the dead. Obviously, Day is sub 10K. Injury seems to be a blip. That's not a trend right now. He did not look good last week, but I don't worry about that. I don't mind taking Furyk is not a guy I think is good for this format, and it's not someone I'm interested in. I don't mind just taking a pure gut feel with Phil. You never know with him. He can get on a run. Again, the blow-up monster numbers aren't going to be a death sentence here. So it is tough if JT doesn't come out at the top, though. Whoever wins this group is obviously going to be at a huge advantage if they are getting Keegan, Wallace, or Biergaard.
Yeah, this is a tough group. I think some of the groups are hard to call because they maybe don't have a lot of, you're not really excited about any of them. I mean, I could make a case for all 4 of these guys. Day is just the perfect player for this format. Super long off the tee, great putter. good around the green. I mean, it's important to make birdies, but it's also important to be able to get up and down and not make bogeys. Stenson, his approach game has been really good. He's gained 15.6 strokes on his approaches over the last 10 rounds. That's 2 made cuts and a missed cut. But I mean, that's pretty much like prime Stenson. The approach game has been great, and Furyk's approach game has been great. But like you said, just not a good format for him. There's not, guys like Rahm, Rory, Day can be super aggressive. They can always just hit more drivers and take more aggressive lines in this format. It's like Furyk, he's already like maxed out. He's not being in this format. There's nowhere else for him to go. He's going to hit it 270 in the fairway, and that's it. So like, while Furyk's playing great and the approach game has been great, there's no extra gear for him to hit being in match play. But
I don't see it with him. I
know. But the approach, but he's been playing good, and the approach is good, and maybe he could squeak through here, but it's hard to see him making like a deep run.
I just feel like for this format, you kind of have to chameleon your game a little. And Furyk he's so consistent, and that's great. But when you're playing against different types of players, not that it's just hitting that gear and going low in certain matches, where reining it back in certain matches. And we've seen, everyone, I'm guilty of this all the time. And then it's like, yeah, Furyk's got the 58 out there. So he knows a little something about that, but I'm not going there. So we've got 2 more groups on the left side. We'll start, this is the big cat group. Group 13, Tiger, Patrick Cantlay, Sneds, and Aaron Wise. Aaron Wise is the flat min. I like that guy in life. Do you think he has any chance to come out of the group? I mean, I don't hate it, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't hate it either. This is a tough group for me. I don't really see myself playing a lot of guys out of this group because it seems like a really pretty competitive group. You could make the case for Tiger, obviously. You can make the case for Cantlay. Sneds can get hot with the putter, and plus you have Rory waiting in the next round possibly. So yeah, I mean, I don't see myself playing a lot of these guys. It's just really hard to call. I don't have a good feeling for who comes out of this group, and then I definitely don't want him to run into the Rory buzzsaw in the next round if that's what's waiting for him.
The way, just when I looked at the bracket, it seems like there's a couple different types of groups. You have groups with a super top end player and then 3 guys that are clearly inferior. And then you have groups where it's like, I don't love the guy up top, and if he doesn't win, any of the other 3 could come out. And that's like this Tiger group. I think the Xander group is like that, where it's 4 guys from first to last. If I had to order them, there's no easy matches. There's no gimmies. That makes it tough because, you're basically taking, a quarter, 1 out of 4 chance. And then, like you said, you get it right, there's a very real chance they get Rory, who is in group number 4. This is one of my favorite groups because it's just all people I like. Rory, Fitzy, Harding, and Luke List. I don't know. Weird group, obviously, because Rory's the heavy. What's he? He's got to be in the minus.
Minus 143.
Yeah, that's. I do feel like there's. I mean, of course, in the swarm, we've seen time and time again, guys can go down. I'm building my teams as if Rory is going to go down. I'll be honest.
Yeah, the hard part for me with this group is like sometimes you can say, well, yeah, Rory, there's a good chance he doesn't advance, but there's not a guy. Then it's not like there's somebody waiting there where it's like, oh, it's not Rory, it's him. It's like, I don't know.
Harding.
Yeah, I don't know who to pick. If Rory doesn't get through, that doesn't make it that much easier. Like out of Fitz, Harding, and List. So yeah, it's kind of almost by default. I feel like I'm going to be playing a lot of Rory, especially with the group we just went through. Group 13 doesn't feel that strong to me. Yeah, I'll be firing up a lot of Rory just because I have no clue if it doesn't work out for him. I still don't know who's the logical guy to get through out of that group.
I will say, and I don't think I'm going to be overweight on Rory, and that's scary. And it's even scarier now that I just look again, because Rory, what's the worst case scenario for him in the sense of him moving on and getting who? Cantlay, Tiger, like. Right. Most of the other groups, you're staring someone a little more daunting in the face, as you mentioned, Day or some of those types. I'm not like if you're Rory and you get Tiger in the Sweet 16, there's certainly worse matchups than that.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta play it out at least like down the line and see what these guys are gonna run into if they win. And it looks I hate to say easy for Rory, but on paper it looks pretty easy for him to get to the round of 16.
I just always, and obviously I'm a big Rory guy. I don't know. Won the Players Sandwich Spot Masters coming up. I just don't know where he's going to be at. Now he's been so consistent. Maybe he's just on a different gear and he's just going to dominate again and then dominate at Augusta. I'd love to see that, but I wouldn't be stunned to see him kind of treat this as a super tune-up, get some rest afterwards. I don't believe he's going to Valero, and then we'll see him in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough event because it's so much golf.
A lot of golf. Yeah.
7 rounds over 5 days. Yeah, I mean, I feel like some of these guys are going to go out on Wednesday and see if they have it or not. And if they don't, they're going to be like, oh, no, I'm just going to make this 3 rounds and go home. And or if he comes out and blows the doors off of somebody, maybe he tries to make a run. But I think some of these guys are going to mail it in if they get behind early and are just like, I'm not feeling this week.
I can't imagine that doesn't happen in something like this, just because, like I said, you got sights set on Augusta and you're coming off the Florida swing, which was, for a lot of these guys, it was a lot of golf. There's big tournaments up and down. And I believe Rory last year did he get bounced?
Oh, it's weird because it's like I have him at T36 because there's points involved, and I don't. So yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he got bounced. Obviously.
Yeah, Brian Harman. Yeah, that was, I remember. Yeah, Rory, Harman, Vegas, and Peter Uihlein. What a group! My God, that is phenomenal. I remember Uihlein being, I want to say, like way up, and then naturally not doing.
Doing Peter Uihlein things. Yeah.
All right, so we talked about the left side of the bracket. For me, I'll just say real quick, I think if it's not Rory down there, Fitzy, who, he just played with Rory, he kind of has a Furyk thing that scares me where he doesn't have a super aggressive gear. He just plays his game. He's not the longest hitter, but he can putt. And if it's windy, certainly adverse conditions aren't going to bother him. But let's go to the other side. We'll go all the way to the top, same style. We got Group 2. So these are people, everyone we just talked about, and now everyone we're going to talk about, they would only meet in the finals. If you build this without looking at a bracket, you need just self-exclude. So obviously this will all make sense.
Spend your money to the Wounded Warrior project.
Yeah, don't. If you are trying to watch this without a bracket, you've got some serious problems. Group 2, Rose, Woodland, Eddie Pepperell, who's an actual thing these days, and Griot. Of all the top-end guys, it's nothing against Rose. It's just hard to play him when you have so many other guys you want to spend to.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have zero feel for this group. It feels like any of these guys could win. I don't feel really great about any of them. So yeah, this is probably a group where I'm just not going to have a lot of exposure to. I mean, you just have to go group by group and like see who you have a strong feeling about. And if you're just sort of ambivalent to all 4 players, yeah, I'll leave it alone and let other people try and figure it out, because I could make a case for all these guys, but I can't make a strong case for any of them.
It's tough. Obviously, Woodland finally got cut last week. I kind of saw that coming. I was underweight on him. I don't worry about that, but at the same time, it's a very narrow window. You got to beat Rose in this group. But the one thing and we've been talking about this, and we're going to loop them in a second. You get out of this group, I think the worst group in the entire thing is the next group. And I'm going to bring them in right now. We got this group, just fire it into the sun. Group 15, Bubba, Spieth, Billy Ho, and Kevin Na, who withdrew last week. Somebody's coming out of that group. So if you're the Group 2, which we talked about, you got to feel amazing coming out and getting one of those 4.
I'm going to work it a little bit. I guess I really like Bubba.
Do you? See, he freaks me out.
Well, yeah, of course he freaks me out because you never know what you're going to get. And he said how he hates this event.
Yeah, the defending champ hates it.
But he's playing really well. Even the events where he hasn't had a really good finish, the ball striking has been good. I'm treating Spieth like a free square. I mean, the dude is so bad off the tee. I can't imagine him winning or even a match, maybe against Na. I mean, he's losing 0.6 of a stroke off the tee. And just like we talked about with Rahm and Rory, like being great off the tee takes pressure, off of your game. Like being awful off the tee just puts so much pressure on the rest of your game. You're hitting approaches from suboptimal spots, so you have very few like easy birdie chances. You're missing a lot of greens, which means you have to scramble. So yeah, I mean, Billy Horschel, not great. Not withdrew last week, and he's not playing great. To me, I really like Bubba at 8,900. I don't like a lot of guys in Group 2. So for 8,900, it seems like a decent shot to get a guy through to the Sweet 16. So as scary as it seems, I'm probably going to have quite a bit of Bubba.
It's a group that, although it's very tough to project, I find myself mixing and matching because I want someone from this little, like, I think it's important to have someone up there. It's not the strongest 8 golfers, especially if Rose isn't the guy. Any of the other 7, not going to be, that's somewhat of a dark horse. It's somewhat of a salary saver. I guess Bubba, he's almost 9K, but I don't think it's going to be him, to be honest. I think Billy Ho is interesting, and I can't stand playing him not in Florida, but I don't know, 7,300, I believe. Yeah, 73. Wide open little quadrant of 8 there. Do you have, I don't want to jump backwards a little, but like I wanted to use this Pepperell guy. I don't know, though. I just have such a hard time. He's such a good Twitter guy, but that's about all. Obviously, the players, he was good. I think it's kind of a stay away on that front. But
yeah. I mean, if I was going, Grillo's the same price at 6,900. I'd play Grillo before I played Pepperell. But I mean,
too.
Vegas likes Pepperell. They have him at 100 to 1 and 4.5 to 1. They have Grillo at 150 to 1 and 5 to 1. So Vegas likes Pepperell. I like Grillo. So I'm probably wrong.
We're probably wrong because I like Grillo too. I will have a little Pepperell. All right, next group, we got Group 10. Paul Casey, who won last week. Cam Smith, CH3, and Answer. Another one of those, as I related to like Xander, Tiger. I don't view Paul Casey as like, oh my God, how are they going to get past him? Group's wide open. For me, my favorite's Cam Smith. I think he comes out of this group. Sub 8K, not a terrible target.
I hate Cam Smith. I
know you do. It's true.
Yeah, like you said, pretty wide open. Casey's not putting the fear of God in anybody. I mean, Answer.
Oh boy.
I don't like him, but for 6,400 coming off a T12, I mean, I could see it in this group where there's going to be some of these, sickos are going to advance. I mean, good luck figuring out who it is, but, I wouldn't have a problem taking some shots with Answer. It just so happens that Cam Smith and CH3, 2 of my least favorite players on tour, just happen to be in this group. So we know I'm not going there, but
like a group to take shots with though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Especially coming off the win, then staring possibly 7 rounds in the face. I mean, there's who knows with him too. So
this is one where, you can take shots anywhere because as we've said, even the guys, Rory's like somewhat of a heavy, but like minus 145, it's not like, there's a lot of things that are very, very, very likely to happen at bigger odds than that don't happen. A lot of these guys are coin flips at best. So you're going to see big names go down. But groups like this, to me, it's wide open. Maybe someone has like 30% equity as opposed to everyone having 25%. It's very small edges. So take a stab there. The winner of this group gets another group to me that is wide open. Molinari, Webb, Thunder Bear, and then you want the free square. I mean, if Satoshi comes out of this group, you can eliminate me. I didn't even know he was in this. What do you make of this? Thunder Bear is going to be interesting to me. I think a lot of people kind of see if you want a salary saver, he can certainly handle himself in a field like this.
This group is awful.
Awful.
It's awful. And Molinari seems it feels to me like the Sergio group where I don't love Sergio, I don't love Molinari, but it's just the rest of the group is, I mean, Webb is not playing, he's just not having a great year. He's not playing awful, but he's not having a great year. Olesen, we've always liked him in big events because he kind of flashes here and there, but he hasn't been playing that great. And Satoshi is, besides Spieth, probably the next worst player in the field. So
times are tough. When it's Satoshi and Spieth to go to the Final Four, I guess we'll safely assume that you're not going to take all the money down.
Well, yeah, this bottom half of this whole quadrant is pretty bad.
The 16 we named, if it's not Rose, my God, like there is no one else up there. I know we've named some good players, obviously.
Well, and
But
that's the messed up part is the whole left side of the bracket has such, there's DJ, Rom, Rory, JT, and then
Day.
it's like the other side is barren. So yeah, I don't know.
That's why I think if you're structuring, and again, if you're making enough teams, you're gonna have all sorts of permutations. If you're gonna, I think you can take more stabs on the right side. Like take Cam Smith, take Rio. You get 2 shots at top right, something like that. I'm gonna make teams like that and see where I'm at because I have no faith in the top seeds for these groups to come out. I just don't see it. So Webb to me is somewhat indifferent. He missed the cut last week. I don't mind it. He feels a little cashy. Good luck, by the way. If you're playing, I tried to register for cash. Go with God. This is talk about brutal. Like it's just awful to play cash for this.
Yeah, I don't even know.
It's horrible. It was one of my many mistakes.
Yeah,
bad.
I'm not going there. Not going there.
All right, so we got the bottom right, the last 4 groups. We'll get into that. We got Bryson, Group 6. Bryson, Leishman, Affy, Barnrat, and Knox. This is, I think, a strong group. Maybe other people don't. I'm a Knox guy. I think Bryson's sneaky, and then the 2 in the middle, not horrible plays either. What do you make of this? Do you have any lean?
Yeah, this is a tough group because you could make a case for all 4 guys, kind of in a good way, not in some of these other groups. It's like I can't figure it out. All 4 of these guys have something going for them. I really like Knox. I know, kind of like Furyk, the format doesn't set up for him because he's not long off the tee. But this isn't a super strong group. And the approach game has just been off the charts for him. Unfortunately, hasn't really been doing anything else with it, but 18 strokes on approach in his last 3 events. That's very, very strong. And I think 6,600 is a really good price. Some of these other guys that I could see as dark horses, they're more in like the 7,500 range, guys like RCB. But, 6,600 is very cheap to me for, the group that he's in, how well he's striking the ball. Don't love the setup in this event or this format, but yeah, for the price, he's one of my favorite plays on the board this week. But I'm a Russell Knox truther, so.
No, the problem I have, and again, when we talk about this, what you want to do is make sure you're looking at the big picture. This is all about big picture. I like Knox and I like these guys, but the 16 guys we're about to get to, I think this is the strongest 16 of the 4 quadrants. I don't see many guys where I'm just like, well, this guy has no chance. So we named 4 there. Obviously, Bryson's leading the way, but the group that they play next is Group 11. Fleetwood, Usti, Stanley, and Benny on. Kyle Stanley, yeah, he's probably towards the bottom, but Usti showed some light, more than life. I thought he was going to win. I needed him to win. He didn't win. Fleetwood, obviously playing well. Benny on, if they, I was telling someone before, this could be his event. If they don't make him putt the 3-footers, he's going to win. Like, this is it for him. Just, you can pick that up as his dream scenario.
Yeah, just hit it to 3 feet and pick it up.
Yeah, just, what do you think here? I mean, this is another tough one. Usti's interesting to me. Think he can continue the form from last week. He did make some very outrageous shots around the green, but I still think he's gearing up for a nice trend towards Augusta.
Yeah, I was going to mention that he gained 10 shots putting and around the green, which is not what you want to see. I mean, it's Usti, so he has the pedigree. It's not like we're trying to figure out whether he's a good player or not. He just he ran really hot on and around the green. But to me, that's not something that I would want to chase. Fleetwood, I love. I mean, he's playing great, 9,600. You're going to have to pick your spots with these expensive guys. And it's like, do you want to pay up 9,600 for Fleetwood? Then it's really hindering you or hampering you from taking a guy like Rory or DJ, who I just feel so much more confident in. So if Benny on would probably be my pick. I don't love him, but 6,300 a really good price in a group that, I think is winnable. Fleetwood's playing great. I don't know if I want to go 9,600 for him, and I don't like like Usti, and I obviously Stanley is he's down there with Spieth and Kadira.
Or Stanley. The thing about Benny On is most of the other guys in that price range, they're not playing well at all. Like they're not the best golfers relative to this field, but they're also not playing well. Benny On is, he can't putt, but other than that, he's been killing it all year, tee to green. So it's almost a necessity that you're going to need someone cheap, and I'd rather have a guy at least who's playing well than someone where it's like, all right, I need them to beat better players and somehow turn on the form. Like that's a tall ask. So I get it with him. Two groups left. Another brutal group. Group 14, Finau, Poulter, Kisner, and Killa Keith. Poulter obviously is like the specialist with this stuff between the Ryder Cup and this event. It's going to make him way too popular. There's no doubt about it. Finau, I guess, has the best odds, but this group's wide open, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's pretty crazy. So Finau's 9K. I have him at 30 to 1 outright, and plus 220 to win the group. Poulter is 7,700, and he's 33 to 1 and plus 220 to win the group. So that just shows you how much, at least where Vegas is leaning on Poulter. But like you said, he's like the match play god. I don't generally put a lot of stock in that, but I mean, when you've been doing it for as long as he has, I mean, it's not a fluke, and he's playing good. But I just don't think I'll go there for 7,700. Like you said, this is a really good group, just 4 guys. I like Kisner a lot. Again, he finished between 22nd and 27th for like the 7th straight event. It's really kind of odd how he's playing well, but just can't seem to crack the top 20. But the ball striking has been really good. Yeah, he can get hot with the putter. Not the best event fit, kind of in the same vein as Knox. But a 7K I like. And Mitchell, kind of the polar opposite of Kisner. Great event fit. I don't know. He hasn't, 47th a couple starts ago. I cooled off a little bit, but yeah, he was playing great on the Florida swing, obviously. So yeah, you could kind of make a case for any of these guys.
And Kiz did make that, obviously he was in DJ's group, but he made the big run last year in this. What we talk about this all the time in traditional format. It's, what you're doing with Poulter is you're balancing the ownership versus the price versus like if at a certain ownership, even if he is underpriced, he becomes a fade because he's not more likely to advance than the upside you're going to get if he doesn't. But I do totally understand if you want a guy who, there's not many other I'd venture none that are sub 8K and basically the favorite, even though he's plus money to come out of the group. That's pretty interesting. Doesn't matter to me because group 3 has a guy that I really like. It's not a huge surprise. I think this is the most dominant group in terms of a discrepancy. We've got Brooks, then we've got Noren, Haotong Li, and Tom Lewis. This is where I want to spend up if I can. I think Brooks is far and away. I mean, Noren had the good run last year, but this is not the same guy. He's been awful consistently.
Yeah, Noren's been terrible, and I think that's one of the things you have to look at is they're kind of broken down into 4. Each group should have like an A, a B, a C, and a D player theoretically. But sometimes, like Spieth or somebody, that second or third player in the group is just playing awful, and their world ranking isn't really indicative of how they're playing at the moment, and that's what you're getting with Noren. Tom Lewis, get him out of here. Haotong can be scrappy, but like you said, this looks like a group that favors Brooks pretty heavily. Good event fit for him, being super long off the tee and a good putter. I think that's something that's important. Like Day, it's like they can be aggressive off the tee and they can make putts. Some of these guys, your Finaus, your Hidekis, they can be aggressive, but when it comes down to it, you still need to make birdies. And Brooks, really good putter. So yeah, I'm with you. It looks like a full go for Brooks and a 10-3, not quite as expensive as your DJs, your JTs, and Rory's.
It's tough because he's like, if I had to pick one guy to get out of his group, it would be Brooks. But I think his quadrant is really difficult. He's going to have a tough match against the Finau group winner, and then he's going to have a tough match most likely against whoever comes out of, those top two groups. But we can't project that far. You got to just, you have to do something. At the end of the day, you're going to have to pick 6 winners and hope some of them can get through. And Brooks is towards the top of guy. If Hao Tong Lee is the biggest threat, I have to live with that. There's not other groups that really have that. So that's where I'm at on this. I will say, quick housekeeping note, obviously, if you give the video a like, we always appreciate that. But the Wednesday night show obviously isn't happening since this locks at 10 o'clock in the morning. So we're moving it to tonight. So Tuesday, 9 o'clock, me and Jason Roslin breaking this all down again. We're going to get into some specifics about like how do the lineups actually work when you start clicking in buttons. So stop on by later, eat some dinner in between these two shows and then come back and watch me say all this again. What are your final thoughts on this before we get to Corrales? Anything else? I mean, we went through the groups. It's really tough. I think we'd both be lying if we said we had a great feel on who's coming out, but we do have a good feel on how to structure your teams.
Yeah, just take the time to build the teams optimally kind of through the bracket. I mean, as unlikely as it seems to get 6 of the final 8, you're probably not going to do it, but I do think you need to take the time to build that way. Let other people shoot themselves in the foot because they're just too lazy to do it that way.
That's my whole, honestly, this week, it's not a huge week for me, of course. I'm not going crazy, but I'm going to take the time and build my teams as best I can with that in mind. Hope to kill 10 to 15% of tournaments, especially, in some of the lower giant field tournaments, that they screwed up their own teams. And then it's just, a lotto system of if you hit the right combination, great. But if you're playing virtually rake free, why not? And that's what we're going to do. So unlike that, though, we do, if you don't like this and you're for some insane reason thinking that Corrales is your answer to all your problems, we do have that tournament. I am not playing. Maybe I'll throw a couple in there. Tony Romo and the gang. Just to give you an idea of what we're dealing with, Johnny Vegas is 11-5. Badley's 10-7. This is absurd. The only thing I wanted to mention is Thomas Detry is over here. He's a guy I play in Europe all the time. Thomas Peters is apparently not the one, so maybe Thomas Detry is the best Belgian in the world. I like that kid a lot. I'm interested to see him play. Do you have any thoughts on Corrales before we get out of here?
Yeah, it's just a really ugly event.
So bad.
I don't know. I think Neiman at 9,900 would probably be really, really popular, but he's the kind of guy. He stuck out to me. I mean, we've seen him in very strong field events, and he hasn't been playing great, but the ball striking's still been good. We saw last year how good he was. I'd be preferential to Neiman. I'd be preferential to building balanced lineups this week. I mean, Vegas is still Vegas. Johnny Vegas is not great. And once you lock in that 11-5, it's going to force you to kind of punt, which in this field gets really, really dicey really quick. So, yeah, I don't even know if I'll play, but I'd definitely be building a more balanced lineup this week to avoid having to go below 7K.
I'm scrolling through and Dylan Fratelli's in there. There's some guys, but
Fratelli actually did seem a little underpriced.
Yeah, 82
from a pedigree standpoint. I know he hasn't been playing great, but he's got the pedigree. Two guys that stuck out, 2 cheaper guys. Just when I looked at last week's approach numbers, and I mean these guys are both terrible.
PH Lee.
Stefani at 7,500 gained 5.8 strokes approach last week, and Cheka at 7,200 gained 5.7 strokes on approach last week. So, I mean, they're both awful, but this is an awful event. And just for guys that had the irons going last week, there's my 2 sub 8K plays of the week for you guys.
I really think that you just want to pick some dudes that at least you have some information on who have been playing, even if it's not great. Bryce Garnett is the defending champ. Shank is in there. KH Lee, I don't know if anyone's going to go back. Curtis Luck.
Oh, my God.
I just want to throw Curtis Luck. Then we can get back to your boy. I think that him and Roger Sloan are both 7,600. Those are the type of guys I could see getting in the mix. Showed a little form, much weaker field. What happened to KH Lee, man? That was he
Oh,
was
he had a hip. He had a hip problem. That was it. That's
him and Northeastern were two of the you and me real dicey things. He did not get his card by winning the event last week. Unfortunately, that happens. Someone gets exemption from winning this, though. Why did Im not rest? That guy he's just a grinder, man. No weeks off.
I don't know if he's got like some guys like backing him or something, or he needs to like they're putting pressure on him.
He's
just
in debt.
Yeah, he's got to be in some sort of debt or something. But
I mean, I don't know. So we'll see about that. Obviously, the last question, what people want to know. Tony Romo, any chance he makes the cut?
No chance for me.
That was a trick question. Yeah, there's a big goose egg chance. There's just no. I hope he breaks 80. Don't know if he will.
I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it too. That's what we got. Corrales. It's going to be must-see TV. I don't even know if they have Shot Tracker down there.
No, I'm sure they don't.
So you won't even know. You won't even know what's going on. But we do have the match play. It's a really good besides the DraftKings side of it. One of my favorite events to bet. So if you do bet golf, I think it's a good one. Obviously, Tim is the master of that on Twitter. Okay. You can get that Fantasy Golf Man. Always got some good tips, and I'm going to be diving in, trying to pick some group winners, things like that. Any final thoughts before we get out? A couple weeks to the Masters. We're pacing ourselves here.
Yeah, just remember that it does lock. I don't think we reiterated that enough. It does start on Wednesday. I can see getting texts from my friends like Wednesday afternoon. Like, who do you
like?
Yeah, who do you like? I'm like, well,
you could be really sharp. Just, I really think Brooks is going to get off to a good start when he wins, 9 and 8. Yeah, make sure to lock. I think there's a chance that there could be overlay. This is the kind of event that could overlay because people, you have a routine and you're just not thinking like, oh, I know it snuck up on me. Like, I should register. I should build. And it takes a while to build. Let me tell you, I'm going to be so gross. So on that note, as we always say, thanks for watching. We do appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe, sign up. If you haven't, this would be a good time to do it because the Masters is coming up. You can use the promo code JazzRaz, get half off your first month. Check it out just in time for Augusta. But we're going to get on out of here. Good luck. Come back at 9 o'clock EST tonight, me and Jason Roslin. And then we're in for 5-day tilt this week. So buckle up, and we'll see you for Shell Valero next week. Take care.